I've seen a lot of really stupid decisions from game developers over the years, but this one kind of takes the cake. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And Activision, for Pride Month in 2024, has announced some major moves in their games. One of them making bullets the trans flag color in Call of Duty. Yeah. Who thought of this? And more importantly, who okayed it? Who thought this was a good idea to put into the game and thought that this would celebrate Pride in a good way? What the hell are we doing? Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down the Pride bullets with the pattern of a trans-colored flag on them. Sure, nothing could go wrong here. It's so over the top, so ridiculous, that the first thing I think of when I see it is they maybe knew how ridiculous it was and how bad of a look it would be, and they would use that infamy to push the game and push the advertising of it, because in 2024, any notoriety and attention is good attention, and it equals more sales down the road. But at what cost? This is one of those rants that I'm like, look, like I've said in previous videos, I don't give a shit what you are, what you believe, what you care about, what you practice behind closed doors between two consenting adults. Whatever, just don't wave it in my face and make me have to speak a certain way about you to respect that if I don't think it's something that is real. Like, that's my perspective, and I think that's perfectly fair. But looking at this trans bullet, and you relate that to all the mass shooting sprees that have been connected to trans people, you can't help but think that, I don't know, maybe this is something that could potentially encourage a very small, unhinged demographic of trans people in the trans community. You don't think that this kind of bullet could, God excuse the pun, trigger these people? Activision has recently introduced trans-colored bullets in Call of Duty, colored with the blue, pink, and white of the transgender pride flag. This move has sparked some serious debate and controversy across all of Twitter. Now, for me personally, I saw it first from Grums, and of course, of all people do we see replying on the other side of this. I feel like no matter how ridiculous the stance is, we always have Alyssa Marante to take that side, and a part of me has to thank her for being that person, because holy crap, how the hell do you defend this? Grums on Twitter said, did you think this one through, Activision, Call of Duty? We just started Pride, and we already have the worst virtue signal of the year. If the news media actually covered what was happening with mass shootings, they would know. But they either don't know, or they don't care. And like I said earlier, it kind of makes me feel like they do know, because they're very ingrained with this stuff, and they just don't care. They want to push an agenda, push a narrative at any cost. And if that includes maybe seeding someone's brain with the idea that this is okay and it's a good thing to be unhinged and have these bullets on a shooting spree, then have at it. Like, this is what Activision, in my opinion, is telling their audience. But then we have Alyssa Marante saying, let me remind you, these people are hateful, mean, fear-mongers, drawing connections that don't exist to continue their attack of marginalized people. May they be shunned forever. So this is what Alyssa does. Projection, deflection, and ignoring the actual problem and knowing what the real truth is. No, she wants to make sure whatever is said, it's not the truth. She wants to invent the truth and then go with that narrative and call everyone else wrong because she's making up her own truth. There has been a history of mass shooters in recent years that have clearly indicated that they are just not right in the head. There's no other way to slice it. Like, there is an unhinged mentality that is disproportionately attributed to trans people. Like, it just is. You look at the statistics, it is. I don't want to have to dive into that here because honestly, that is like a 5-hour video that really goes away from video games. But I've watched plenty of them to know that yes, this is a problem, and it's something that's very real, and you can ignore it all you want, but all that's going to do is cause more of this stuff to keep happening. Alyssa continued, anyone with critical thinking skills knows that there are not several mass shootings tied to trans folks. Anyone having a conversation in good faith knows that the majority of mass shooters are cis, white men. Peddling anything else is dangerous. No, peddling that lie is extremely dangerous. Look at the mass shootings that have happened, and you can clearly see that it is a broad spectrum of folks from all walks of life. But then when you get to the pride and then dive deeper into the trans, there is a disproportionate amount of trans people based off the percent of trans people in the world that are causing these mass shootings. Like, it's reality. As much as you might want to say, oh, it's not, and blame it on white men because white men bad, that's what the default has always been, and up to 2024 has worked. People are changing their perception on what they accept other people to say, and instead of just blindly approving and accepting what people like Alyssa say, people are starting to question it and say, hold up, what do the stats actually say? What's the reality behind all this? You can say all the magical words you want and be the word wizard that you are, but the reality and the facts speak for themselves. Grums continued, for those asking, Activision and Call of Duty and Daniel Defense are being sued by Ovaid family lawyers in a ridiculous case that claims the branded weapons and video games recklessly encourage the violence. If they win such a ludicrous claim, it will put Daniel Defense out of business and hurt video games and the Second Amendment. And of course, to that tweet, Alyssa Marante had to cap it and say, you're effing disgusting. Because Grums is trying to prevent more mass shootings and cares? That's disgusting? How do you have that mentality? Like, it's actually impressive to dig your hole in the ground and take that stance, put the stake in so far that you can't even see reality. You are so stuck on this broken mentality of what you're thinking, this line of thinking that is just not correct for all intents and purposes. It's just straight up wrong, but you can't help but stand there anyways and call everyone else stupid. Grums replied, I don't know, Alyssa. Seems like you are ignoring all the recent ones. But hey, that's what Kotaku does, right? Colorado Springs shooter, trans. Denver shooter, trans. Aberdeen shooter, trans. Nashville shooter, trans. I think several is accurate, and it's a bad look for Call of Duty. While they are being sued to do trans bullets, you might be outraged, but the legal team suing Activision isn't going to care and will use these facts against them. Activision should pull these skins immediately. Now, in this video, I don't want to dive into the legal conundrums of what Activision is and what's going on with all that, because that is a mess in itself. I did see Sid Alpha respond to Grums saying, once again, factually inaccurate. Remington was already near 1 billion, yes, billion in debt before the lawsuit. The lawsuit was also settled, likely due at the time of the highly politically charged nature and legislative overtones of the lawsuit, and would have incurred more costs to continue litigation than to settle. That includes costs accrued due to ongoing financial damages. Settlements by corporations are always a cost-benefit analysis decision. No legal precedent was set, and Activision Blizzard are in no way endangering the game's industry outside of being intensely mocked for their choices here. And I would tend to agree with that assessment based off of the research that I have done. But even if it doesn't get them in legal hot water, this is like the dumbest thing you could do. When video games have had free reign for years now of just having the freedom and the developers having the artistic narrative choices to do whatever the hell they want in the games without people going to Congress and being like, oh, games are bad and the rating system is bad and they're affecting the minds of young kids. We got past all that stuff. But then you see something like this and it's like, come on. Like, what are you doing? What are you going to ruin it for everyone? Like, this is the kind of thing that now, the next time there's a trans shooter, and there will be a next time because there always is with this type of person, and all other people, by the way, because people are just messed in the head, they're going to blame this. And then people are going to start looking at the whole video game industry at large and say, this needs to have more government impact. More problems need to be solved. More changes need to be made. More restrictions need to be put on development of video games. It's a slippery slope that we avoided before, and this is the kind of thing that's going to set us right back on that path again. And I ain't having it. This is the dumbest damn thing Activision Blizzard could have ever done. And I know, it's just colors on a bullet, but I think those of you that see it for what it is know it goes a lot further than just that. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information or full screenshots, thoughts, and everything that I talked about here, check out smashjt.com. I will link the article in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash